I'm just so excited to be here to talk with you about marketing small ruminant dairy products with Veronica Baetje, who is, I think of it this way, if I'm a t-ball player, she's in the big leagues. So between us, we should be able to give you a program today that can answer some questions and give you some good information. So I'm with NCAT ATRA, and I need a show of hands just really fast. How many of you have used ATRA before today? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. One more question. How many of you have never heard of ATRA really that you can remember before today? Okay, well then I've got to start first thing by just telling you a little bit about ATRA to make sure you all understand. First of all, I've brought pounds and pounds of paper here, and we have the booth too. We write publications, we give out information. We are your sustainable agriculture information service. And you can reach us through the website, through an 800 number where you'll talk to specialists. One of the things that's special about us specialists is most of us are farmers. So we kind of get the practical side of things. We understand where you're coming from. And you can get a lot of information on the internet, but it is not all good. So we kind of help you screen out the nonsense and give you trustworthy information. Our services are free mostly, but you see all the topics we cover? And do you see the little yellow box up there where it says subscribe to ATRA? We'd really appreciate it if you could help support our work by subscribing. It comes down to less than $1 a week to subscribe for a whole year. And we feel like we offer a lot of value. It helps us to prove that our services are wanted. And it also makes us a little more comfortable when the government shuts down, which it does from time to time. So I just want to make sure you understand what we are, an information service. We have a booth out in the trade show area. We're here to help you. And you can reach us through email, through the website, or by phone, right? Okay, now, one poll. How many of you think that you might reach out to us in the future? Okay, tell me why. Just throw out an answer. This is...
Started out as a sheep farmer.
Okay. Starting out, and so you need some information, and you just heard that I had some information, okay? Somebody else. Thank you.
Checking for updates to previous information.
Checking for updates to previous information, so you had a good experience in the past and you want to see what's coming in the future? Yep. Okay, good. One more.
I just found out you guys had those classes.
Okay. Yes, thank you for reminding me to say that. Besides the papers, we have multimedia. We have a podcast. We just interviewed Veronica for that, actually. It's going to be coming up. We have videos, and we have online courses. And if you look up here on the table, I've got a page that says Sheep and Goat Resources, and I have listed some of those courses on the back, so you can find the link. It's a little bit of hassle, honestly, to do it. You have to get a username and a password and not lose it. But it's great, and it's really good information. I particularly really like the managed grazing course because the livestock team did that, and I'm just really a fan. So what I just said were some of the things that might draw customers to your business, right? A good past experience, having something that they need. And one thing that's important in marketing, you would agree, is we got to know what the customer wants. So we're saving questions to the end, but we can tweak this to meet what you need. So could you please tell me what you'd like to know about small ruminant dairies? Yes?
How to process milk so it's safe to drink.
Okay, how to process raw milk so it's safe to drink. Okay, are you wanting it to stay raw, or are you...
I don't really know much.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Are you all just waiting for the next topic? That's fair, that's okay. But I think Veronica has a really cool story, and I can tell you a couple of things about marketing. So that's what my plan is to first discuss marketing just in general kind of terms, which I think you can apply to meat as well, or wool. I want Veronica to tell her story because it's really awesome. And I've got some resources up here that I want to call your attention to if we have time. If you're not really interested in small ruminant dairy, just pick them up at your leisure, and we won't take time for that. Questions again at the end. Well, this is my farm, Veronica. You were asking about my goats. So I had alpines, And I want to make 3 points on this slide. One, you should know what your goals are for your farm and for your family. And those change over time. You got to be aware of that. Keep checking in with your players, right? Two, well, goals and mission, there's not a lot of difference in my mind, but maybe there is. So keep revisiting that. And the third point is to keep your eye on labor and what's happening. That daughter that's walking the goats back was my right arm for like 10 years. But she grew up, and that's what kids do. Or you maybe have a trusted employee who takes another job. You got to keep on looking at, do we have enough labor? We don't want someone to burn out. And there are ways of getting more labor, but you've got to be aware of the need. Veronica, can you tell us a little bit about that barn?
So I'm Veronica Baetje. My husband and I own Baetje Farms. We've been in business since 2007. We're down in the St. Genevieve area, which is about an hour south of here. But our story starts in 1998 when we bought a goat and her kid for $45. Little did I know that that purchase was going to change our life, but it did. And it's very simple to make that sentence, but the amount of research and experience and time and planning is immense. It was 2005 that we bought that piece of property because of the barn. We had to renovate the barn, and then our creamery is attached to that building there on the right-hand side. We first sold our first cheese in 2007. So there was a lot of education, a lot of research, a lot of understanding the FDA and the PMO and a lot of other, you know, alphabet letters that I can express. But you have to understand when you are wanting to start a farming business, a lot of times you're led by your heart. I know I was. And you have to balance that out with reality. You have to balance that out with who's going to be doing this. Is it going to be you yourself? Do you have family involved? Do you have, you know, a spouse, children? Who are you going to be utilizing and leaning on for, you know, the support, both, you know, physically, economically, or even just as a mentor? Or are you alone in your venture? And you have to examine it from all sides. You have to see, just like Jean had shared about Minnesota wool, you know, I thought it was very interesting because I had sheep for a time, and I can remember thinking how sad it is when I go to the store that I can't find fabric or I can't find clothes that are made with wool. It's all, you know, synthetic. And why is that? You know, and I think we understand the Industrial Revolution and what it's done to our food and our clothing and our you know, environment. But trying to bring farming into a product that people can use, you know, you have to really think like a consumer when you're doing this. So someone had told me at the very beginning that if I wanted to start a business with dairy goats, I'm going to have to create my own market. There's not going to be anybody come to me. There's not going to be any truck come to my farm and pick up milk. You know, the closest creamery at that time that I was doing the research was up in Wisconsin. And I called him one day. I remember how excited I was. I called him up and I was thinking, wow, what if they say yes? And then I can get a lot of goats. And they were like, lady, you're crazy. Do you know how far we'd have to drive to go get your milk? That's not going to work for us. And, you know, I had to really start to think, now, what is this going to look like if I really love these goats and I really like what I'm doing and I really think it would be a great business to do with my husband. But really, come on, let's put the nuts and bolts to this. What is this really going to look like? And it's evolved and it's changed. What I thought it would be back in 2002 when I was daydreaming out in the meadow with my goats is not what it became in 2005, is not what it was in 2007, and it's not what it is today. Because things continue to change. FDA changes their laws, their rules, their regulations. One of our main customers is Whole Foods. They just got bought out by Amazon this year. I can remember when that happened and saying, oh, what's this going to do? You know, there's always things that are happening and changing. Consumers change their taste. Foods become fads. You know, do you remember the ostriches years ago? I mean, what happened to them? And let's talk about the alpacas. I remember a friend of mine that had alpacas, and she was talking about how she wanted to do some construction work on her house. She needed to sell an alpaca so she could get $35,000 to do that work. $35,000 for an alpaca. She got it. I don't think that's there today. Where are these people with the alpacas? You know what I'm saying? My husband goes to a farmer's market and they're selling alpaca meat, okay? He came home with a pound of alpaca meat. I said, how much did you pay for this? He's like, don't worry, it was free. I traded him a cheese. You know, so that's what I'm trying to say. Things change. You know, so when you're thinking about what you want to do, you're going to have to think about the plan from beginning to end, including an exit strategy. What if it don't work? What if it works for 2 years, and then after 2 years, you got to get out? But you mortgaged your house, and you spent your last dime. How's that going to work for you? So I'm throwing a lot of things at you, you know, but what I'm trying to express is that whatever you're setting out to do, whether it's like us, we're milking goats and we're making cheese and we're selling our product throughout the United States, or you're raising vegetables, or you want to do wool with sheep, you're going to have to really do some homework and think about that plan.
That's right. And thank you, Veronica. What I wanted to say is, given what she said about having to create her market, do you all think that barn might be an asset? I mean, what kind of thoughts come to your head when you see that barn? Just throw out a word. Cheese. Cheese? Okay. Tradition's the one I thought of. What else? Charming. Charming, yes. And it's, what else?
A lot of work to maintain.
What? I'm sorry.
A lot of work to maintain it.
A lot of work to maintain it, yeah. It's it looks really well cared for, doesn't it? And I think abundance and tradition, and it's beautiful. So having something like this that kind of speaks quality, just the image, right? It's really important for her to have that. Even, you don't really like people coming to your farm because they're very much interrupting, right? But occasionally reporters come, like from the New York Times or something. So having a structure like this and putting this out on her information helps tell the story, right? Helps send an image. And you all have something like that too, right? Anything? What about the logo? How'd you come up with that logo, by the way?
Well, you know, I had a background in graphic arts, and so yeah, so I really liked the different pieces and the elements, and I kind of put it together. So we have Saanen goats, and the goat that's in the center is very typical of what they look like. And then we're in St. Genevieve area. So St. Genevieve's the oldest town west of the Mississippi in all the United States. I don't know if you knew that. And it was founded by the French, so that's the fleur-de-lis at the center. And then I just think goats are really cool, and they deserve recognition, you know, so the wreath around it. You know,
so the logo has a story also, and helps send a message, right? Helps send an image. Yeah, that's good. I had a guy tell me, the basic marketing questions, again, this goes to whatever you're marketing. Who is your customer? And you kind of have an idea who your customer is. What are you selling? And remember, you're not just selling cheese. You're selling the story, the image, the red barn, whatever, the whole story. Because the cheese can't compete in price with imports. So Veronica's got to motivate a customer to buy for another reason besides price, right? And you do too, have to motivate somebody. Why would they buy from you? Again, you got to tell your story well. Right? Where do you reach them? Like farmer's market, Whole Foods store, on your farm, and then when? Is there a seasonal aspect to this? Okay, so all of you will have a product that you'll have to ask those questions about. Looking here, this is how I would market milk. Is besides the raw milk, I would sell a kid to 4-H kids, right? I'd sell lambs to people who wanted to eat lamb. We raised calves or pigs with the milk, and we sold milkers to people who wanted to have. So can you think kind of who my customers were? And now think about who's the customer for these products. Thank you for the photo, Veronica. So my customers are very different from this. you got to understand who your customer is in order to send out the message that's going to reach out to them, right? What do you think these customers are after, these cheese customers? What's something they want? What'd she say?
I'm sorry.
Something to go with the wine,
yeah.
right. You think they're just having this every day? No, so it's a special occasion. All right, what else? Do you think they're having it all by themselves? Definitely a niche market. They definitely want to impress somebody is my thought. I mean, some of these look really fancy. So they have to know that it's going to be what? High quality, right, excellent, good thinking. When I use this image, this is my youngest son coming out of the show ring with the purple ribbon and that face, right? That's going to help me sell goats to 4-H children. Every parent wants their kid to look like that. Okay, we're doing pretty good. So you see what I'm saying about images and messages. Now, Veronica, these are her cheeses. What kind of messages do you get from this photo?
Top of the line.
Top of the line, yeah. Champion. If you see on there, that's not the county fair, y'all. That's the American Cheese Society top awards. So would you feel confident that you could serve this to your very best party and it would be good, right? So quality, top of the line. And I like too the color. Do you see the logo itself was really classy, really nice. When you add the blue color, that to me says blue ribbon, right? Top of the line. You want to say anything about this one?
Yeah, no,
we're moving.
Covered it. Yeah,
all right, I've just got a few more and then I'm turning it over to you. If you're going to do something like this, these next 3 pictures are just to remind you it's not a one-person show, okay? Because you have to take excellent care of the animals. You don't get a good product unless you have healthy animals that are well-fed, well-cared for, low-stress handling, and kept very clean. And you have to understand what she was saying earlier about pasteurized milk ordinance and FDA and following all the regulations, knowing how to work with all the expensive equipment, keeping everything washed down and clean. Is it true that you spend a lot of time washing things?
Yeah, I mean, in cheese making, you spend the same amount of time cleaning up as you do making the cheese
right.
and packaging it.
And you just have to. And that's part of what's going into your question about the safety of milk, too. Keep it clean and keep it cold. Take good care of it. And just having the skill to consistently turn out a good cheese. You don't win prizes unless you have really perfected that. I've made cheese at home, and a little tweak will make a different cheese. That's okay if it's me at home serving to my family. We can just enjoy, oh, look how this turned out today. Veronica cannot do that. She's got to have it consistently coming out exactly how she knows it is. And then, of course, there's the marketing. The person who is really good at the animal care might not be so good with the clean, precise cheese making. And the cheesemaker might be an introvert who's not so good at selling, right? And all that goes into this, the art that goes into making the label, coming up with the packaging, it's just huge. So nobody in here acted like they were like dying to start a cheese business. And I guess that's probably good. You can sort of relax tonight, not have to worry about all of this. But my hat is off to those who have done it. This is actually Tessa McCormick, who lives in my area, that she milks Nigerians to make cheese. And she said, you know, this is a really big job. And their kids grew up and left home. And they're in the same boat as we got to with, how are you going to cover all the marketing? So this is just, and all of the work there is, this is just a review of the questions, and I don't want to take time for it really. I have a bunch of resources I want to show. Where are we at for time?
Got about 6 minutes to go.
And I wanted Veronica to get to show some more of her pictures. This cookie?
Actually, it's not. Cookie is not with us anymore, but that was just a goat that I thought was beautiful, that
She
I
is
wanted
beautiful.
to kind of use to tell the story.
Again, beautiful
Yeah.
photos really matter. Yeah. This is just some images from Baetje Farms, and just give you an idea, there's a lot that goes into this. Beautiful. That red barn, I'm telling you, that's learning. So Vermont Institute, I did not know that was closed, Veronica. Vermont
Yeah,
Institute for Artisan
unfortunately.
Cheese.
Yeah, it was a great resource.
Okay, there's some of your equipment. The ribbons.
Yeah, this is just explaining
Go ahead
some of
and do
the
that.
different cheese types that we make. So you know, we were really inspired to make French-style cheeses, you know, based on where we were. When I was thinking about having dairy goats and having a creamery and making cheese, I didn't want to do just a plain old Colby or, you know, hot pepper jack or something, you know, nondescript like that, because why would they want to buy it from me? They could get that anywhere. They can go to Save-A-Lot or Aldi or whatever. Why would it matter if I made that? So I wanted to make something that was really special. I wanted to make something that was different. And I wanted to make something that people couldn't find everywhere, and something that kind of established us as a name and a brand and separated us from all the other cheeses out there. And so I started studying these different French-style cheeses. And at the time I was doing that, I had never been to France. Now I've been, thankfully, 8 times. It's been an adventure. But and through that, our companies formed an alliance with Dairy School, and we regularly have interns that come and they bring their knowledge and their experience, which has been just a real blessing. But so that's what we're doing. We're making more French-style cheeses. Our customers, you know, I stopped by the airport on my way here because we had cheese that was going out to San Francisco, air cargo. You know, our customers are in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. We ship FedEx throughout the United States. You know, I sent a box to Houston this morning, FedEx. Whole Foods is a lot of our customer base, and the farmers markets. You know, but this has evolved over time. You know, the different cheeses that we make. Like our miette, it's a little croton style. That cheese is a blend of sheep and goat milk because we had a drought in 2011 and we didn't have enough goat milk, and I couldn't source out any additional goat milk. But I did find sheep milk, so I started experimenting with sheep milk. And then we're doing some interesting things with this cheese. It's a Reblochon style. And we're working with 4 Hands and using some of their chocolate milk stout and washing cheese with it. So it's been really interesting, the different twists and turns that the company has taken over the years, the different cheeses that we make. And you know, we're really accessible because we're just an hour south of St. Louis, but you know, to a lot of people, we're still kind of in the middle of nowhere, and we have this beautiful you know, environment that we can work with every day. So, and it's been interesting, just the different experiences that we've had. Being part of the World Cheese Awards every year is a highlight for me. I get to be part of a team with 200 judges from 35 countries, and we judge about 3,000 cheeses in just a few hours. And yeah, it's an adventure. It's really fun. That picture there it kind of shows the dynamics. So we got somebody from the Canary Islands, the woman there is from Australia, myself, and then the man on the other side is from Paris. So it's a great experience because we get to meet people from all over the world that are interested in cheese and passionate about it. But we also get to see cheeses that we don't ever see around, you know, this side of the globe. The woman from Australia entered a cheese that it was a goat cheese that was a fresh chev, and it was covered with green ants that had eaten eucalyptus leaves, and they tasted lemony, so they added a lemon flavor to it, and that cheese actually was in the top 50. So it won a Super Gold. So it was pretty interesting. And then, of course, like this last slide says, it takes a team. You know, and there's a lot of people that help put this all together, from the folks that gather the hay to put it in the barn at this bottom picture. My husband there, you know, milking the goats and putting the milk into the bulk tank. You know, even the people that are washing the milk cans. You know, what would we do if, you know, when you get a business to this point, I can't do all of those items. Now, believe me, I did when we first started, but, you know, there's 24 hours in a day, and we didn't have a lot of time to sleep at that point. And you have to build a business that's sustainable. You have to build a business where you still have a life, and you have to work that into your business plan, too.
That is an excellent point, and I think we're about out of time. Just want to tell you all, there are resources on the table, handouts that weren't out there before, and just to make another point, publicity. Do you pretty much say yes if a reporter says, I want to interview you?
Oh, yeah. You don't turn that down because that's free.
Right.
You know?
So it's a way to get the story out, and beautiful images, a great logo, nice use of color, and having a great story. So think about who your customers are, and please do call ATRA, all right? Sign our clipboard, and I have a gift for you if you want it. Thank you, Veronica, yeah, excuse me. The gift is, so look, she brought cheese, these beautiful cheeses, and we will lay them up here for you to admire, and afterwards we can taste if you want to, and my mouth is kind of watering after all of your descriptions. This is a jump drive that we made with SARE. It's called the Small Ruminant Toolbox, and it has PowerPoints. It's good for self-study. It's good for if you're working with if you're an educator working with farmers. It's got PowerPoints on it, and it has a couple of manuals, including the Master Meat Goat Producer course from Tennessee. It also has a frequently asked questions thing, which we turned into this. And you can store your own things on it. That's what I like about a jump drive. It's customizable, right? So you've got something you want to save. So you are welcome to get one of these. And Langston has put out a couple of really fabulous books. Well, more than two. They have one about meat goats, which I did not bring. This one, Dairy Goat Production Basics. If you haven't raised dairy goats before, I really encourage you to get this. It's very colorful, very visual, well illustrated, and it's good. It's really good. Order forms are up here. A more technical version here is ready. They're also in Spanish, very comprehensive. It's an online course. I have a resource list up here which lists all of these for you to look at. Also want to say, Yvonne Swede-Tucker has a book, and I left a copy, and so did Mary Jane up here, for you to look at. Don't take those, all right? Langston very kindly let me print a chapter from that illustrated book, which talks about what to do if you're going to start a dairy, and you're welcome to pick that up, and so you especially. All right. Thank you all very much. Veronica, thank you.